Woo FM. Call 423-614-5553 to join in on the conversation. Now, back to Backfire.
All right, we're back with Backfire. Anyway, we had a little cooling off period there. Everything's just back to normal here. Everybody, yeah. Anyway, the phone line's open and we've got a call. Let's go, caller. You're live.
Good morning, Steve, John, and Franklin. How you doing?
Hey.
Good morning.
There's something, I don't know if I should bring it up or not, but I will. Have you heard anything about this judge sentenced this guy for a year for molesting this little girl 100 times, and he just got a year on that? Have you heard anything about that?
I saw him talking about that the other day. I don't know much about it, but
well, there's been a lot of them. You know, they had a little 14-year-old girl. She ended up killing herself. The judge said, well, she looked a lot older than 14. And then he refused to apologize and refused to recuse himself from the rest of the case.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. So we should point out this is not a local judge that we're talking about. Mm-hmm.
This was from Nevada, and he's a Supreme Court judge, and they arrested the guy. She was around 6 years old, I believe, and he molested her 100 times, and they just gave him a year in prison. And I think that's what it did.
Well, personally, I always thought they ought to turn him loose out back with the family and say, have at it. You know, good luck. Let the family take care of that. You know, we used to be able to take care of things like that in this country.
Well, John's going to say welcome back to you, and Franklin has been, it's just like old times this morning.
Well, we try.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
You too.
before we get into that, I want to say that Mr. Obama came on at 4:15 yesterday afternoon. I don't know why the speech was made at 4:15 yesterday, but he declared Obamacare a victory.
Well, he did it at 4:15 so no one could reply to him. He does, you know, that's like a document dump at Friday at 5 o'clock. So no news cycle can dominate it.
So do you think that he was trying to get out there in front, say it was very positive and it was a winner before?
Well,
it was
he
torn
got
apart?
out there and said what everybody said would not happen 3 months ago.
What?
Well, we don't think it did happen.
Of course you don't.
Frankly, how many people paid?
Well, those
We'll
numbers are
never
still
know.
coming in.
How many people
We'll
are
never
how
know.
many people are in the right age range?
We'll never know. We'll never know.
How many people?
The best estimates I've seen are around a quarter.
How many people had no insurance before?
We'll never know.
Well, we will know that.
No, we won't. He won't. They won't. Franklin, yesterday they were able to say 7.1 million.
You get down to the
They went
percentage.
to the point 7.1, but they're not able to tell us how many had insurance before. They're not able to tell us how many are in the right age. They're not able to tell us how many have actually paid. That would be like Walmart, Franklin, counting all of their shoplifting loss as a sales volume.
Because some of that information will have to be provided by the private insurance companies, not by the government.
Frankly, they know how many people paid. Can you imagine? Let's put it this way: if
No,
they don't,
they don't.
then
Not
they're
from-
incompetent.
John,
If they run the system,
John,
Franklin, do they run the system?
The problem,
do they run the
The
system?
problem here is that you're apparently misunderstand what Obamacare does.
Tell us what it does.
It establishes a relationship between an individual and a private company.
A
The private
relationship.
company then collects the money. So they have to make the report as to whether they received the money or not.
That's not really kind of true, because to be honest, the government built the platform to collect the money, and it wasn't even built when they started enrolling people. I'm not sure it's even finished as we speak. So they're out here claiming they've sold a product when they don't even have a procedure in place to collect payment on the product.
Here's what should happen. Whether John's party will participate or not remains to be seen. But like most programs of this type, it can surely be made better.
Debbie Wasserman
The
Schultz, the
question is
DNC
the
chairman, says
question
there's
is-
nothing she sees that can be repaired on it.
The question I would have, well, let's use Massachusetts, for example, who's got obviously the model for this, and they've had 5 or 6 major revisions to it since it was passed a decade ago.
Because it costs too much.
And because it takes Republicans and Democrats to agree to try and solve problems. You're
The
not going.
Democrats are
You're
a
not going.
supermajority
You are
in
not going to.
Massachusetts.
You are not going to repeal Obamacare. It's not going to happen.
Franklin, they
now,
wouldn't even let us fix it. All of the things
I haven't seen any fixed
Franklin,
votes. I've seen
well, let me
49
explain something.
appeal
Let me
votes.
explain something to you.
That's not a fix.
The actual request to give regular citizens a pass on it for the time being was denied. Government was shut down because Obama wouldn't agree to that, and then he turned around and illegally and unconstitutionally did exactly what the Republicans had asked for the Congress to be allowed to do. By the way, Franklin, let me throw a number out and see what you say about it, because it's a funny number. It used to be a real important number, but yet we've not heard the president or anyone in the administration or anyone in the Democrat Party mention this number. You tell me the significance of it. 45 to 50 million. What's the significance of that number?
That was a estimate for the number of uninsured Americans.
How come the whole reason we had the government take over 20% of the U.S. economy upend all
did not take
they
over
did,
20%.
Franklin?
They
That's
did
how
not.
they most certainly did. But all of these people, millions, have been kicked off of their insurance. They've lost their doctors. They've got higher deductibles now. A huge number of them are going to have higher premiums.
I dispute
Franklin,
the numbers that you're.
Why is no one mentioning the 45 million uninsured Americans? Because that was the whole reason we were told we had to do this.
Because, John, your numbers are off, number one. It's not just the 7 million who've enrolled through the exchanges.
We're talking 45 million. You all talked about
I'm not
45.
through. Let's do it. First of all, we're not going to get to 45 million
You all
in
said
6
we
months.
would.
Not in 6 months.
Franklin, we probably haven't got 2 million of the uninsured. The bulk of these people were people.
Actually, John,
over 5 million lost their policies.
There are approximately 4 million young people who, because of Obamacare, are on their parents' policies now.
That
would
means
not
they
have
already
been on
had
it.
policies.
No, they wouldn't.
The
have had
26
policies.
mark. The
They would not have
26-year-old
had
mark.
policies. They would not have had policies.
This would be after 26 years
Franklin,
of age.
those people didn't want policies.
No, through 26
Those
years of
people
age.
didn't want policies.
Well, they had
Franklin.
insurance through
Oh,
26
you're
through their
wrong,
parents.
John. They did want it.
No,
they
didn't
love
want
the
it.
idea
Wait a
that
minute.
they're on their parents' policy.
They had insurance on their parents' policies up to 26 years.
No, they had it up to 22.
I thought it was 26.
No, it was 20,
And
but
Obamacare
they
extended it through the end of your 25th
Franklin,
year.
we could have extended that through a single
You
bill.
didn't, John. You
Franklin,
He's
we
got an
passed
ink pen.
39 jobs bills, and the
He's got a-
Democrat Senate
he's
won't
got a-
look
The
at them.
7.1 million does not include the Medicaid expansion, which is more people.
What percent?
The 7.1 million does not include people who purchased their insurance off of the market, but through the same plans, off the
But
exchange.
those people already had insurance, the bulk of them, Franklin. The whole reason we did this, according to you people, was we have to take care of the 45 million uninsured. All estimates say when this is all said and done, we'll still have 30 to 40 million uninsured. So we tore everything all to hell for nothing except to hand control to
all
the
of the
bureaucrats.
estimates don't say a darn thing that you just said.
Franklin?
No, that's not. That is not what was ever
Actually-
said. What they said was it will take about 2 years to reach those figures.
It'll take 2 years for the death spiral to collapse the entire system.
Well, let me say this. I think that the 6.5 million or whatever they are bragging about they've signed up, it's kind of like going over here to M&M Mars, and you've got one pack of M&Ms in a plant full of M&Ms. It's just really not a whole lot to be bragging about, but they're going to really make it a big thing. Here's a phrase that I pulled out of something that just really got my wax going. Obama promises Hispanics, your Obamacare sign-up info will not be used to track down family members who are here illegally.
That's because we're having health fairs enrolling them in the Mexican consulates all over the country. We're actually going into the consulates and telling them, sign up. We don't care whether
And why,
we actually.
and why is that?
Frankly, we're
What's
actually
what's
telling
the
them we
theory
don't
behind
care
that?
whether they're U.S. citizens
What's
or not.
the theory behind that?
That the taxpayers are going to pay for Mexican nationals' health care.
No. The theory is that you're already paying for their health care. The problem is you're paying for it on an emergency basis, and all the taxpayers are having to pay it instead of them contributing.
This is a
toward it.
statement from an Obamacare executive, whether they're Mexican nationals or whether they're United States citizens or whether they're in transition. And if they're there, it is our responsibility within all of America to educate on the Affordable Care Act. Enroll America field organizer Jose Medrano told Breitbart News. They don't care whether they're U.S. citizens. They don't care whether they're illegals. And while we're at it, they turned out 68,000 1,000 convicted felons and refuse to prosecute them for being in this country illegal. We're not even prosecuting convicted felons who are illegally here. Oh, and by the way, a California couple got their Obamacare cards. They got voter registration cards through Obamacare, and they already had the Democrat box checked for them.
They didn't get an Obamacare card because there is no such
The
thing.
Obamacare exchanges were required to send out voter registration cards. Couples in California received their voter registration cards as mandated through Obamacare, and they already were checked as being Democrats. But I'm sure that's just a minor little thing that you don't think's a real problem.
Hispanics have been slow to enroll in Obamacare, the Hill reported, suggesting the fear of capture and deportation in mixed status households has kept many from enrolling. It's a terrible thing when we're trying to give something away.
Well, by the way, the woman, the cancer patient who was dying and made the anti-Obamacare ad that Harry Reid said she was lying, who Harry Reid now says he never said that, even though you can play the video of Harry Reid saying it, she's now receiving death threats from the good, compassionate Obamacare supporters. Here's what one of them sent her in the mail. I'm tired of seeing your dying ASS on TV. You should be ashamed of yourself. Hope cancer kills you soon. Signed, a concerned and pissed off citizen of the USA. That's the good, compassionate, liberal mindset for you.
Let's take a call. Go ahead, caller.
Okay, y'all are talking about Obamacare.
Yeah.
I would like for you to explain to me just what it does.
Well, Red, let me ask you something. Have you signed up for it yet?
No.
She's on Medicare.
What does it pay for at a hospital? What does it pay your doctor? Give me some money on that.
Well, they took about $500 million out of Medicare to help pay for it. You know, the Democrats who say Republicans always want to cut Medicare, they took $500 million out of Medicare to pay for it.
Actually, what John's talking about is a reduction in projected increases in Medicare.
Well, here's the point, Franklin. We didn't
No,
run
it's
any,
not.
we didn't run
It's
any
not the
ads
point.
with Obama pushing an old lady off a cliff.
That's
because
because
you
we
did that.
wouldn't have done it.
You cut people's Medicare. You cut $500 million.
Hey,
we
wait a
did
minute.
not.
Hey,
See,
Red
that's-
wants an
that's
answer.
a total
Red wants
misstatement.
Red wants an answer here. What does Obamacare do?
It's an insurance policy like anything else. Only you've got 60 different policies to choose from.
Red.
What does it pay for, though?
Well, here's what it pays
Yeah, who
for.
pays for
This
it?
will be great for you, Red.
It's
I don't
not
know.
going to affect you at all, Red. Do you get
Actually,
Medicare?
Red, it will affect you because guess what?
Do you
You're going
get
to have to
Medicare?
have maternity coverage. Are you planning on having any babies?
Do you have Medicare, Red?
No.
Are you retired?
No.
I thought you were.
Guess
I'm
what,
sorry.
Red? You're going to have to pay for maternity coverage. Did you, if you were buying insurance, would you have voluntarily said, I believe I need some OBGYN maternity coverage?
no.
Well, the government thinks you did, so you're going to pay for it whether you wanted it or not.
Are you currently uninsured, Red?
But what do they pay for us is what I want.
Well, the doctors are getting a reduction in fees. The hospitals are getting a reduction in fees, which means they will have to cut back on care.
None of which are being ordered by the government. by the
Actually,
way.
Obamacare reduces the fee. Franklin, I'm sorry, this is not a closed system. You can't add 40 million people
John.
to the system, not add any money, and expect things
John.
not to get cut.
John, really?
How come all the doctors don't like this?
Because it's cutting their reimbursement,
lot of the doctors
and they
do
weren't
like it.
they weren't making money in the first place, Red. The Medicare and things like most doctors actually lose money. Medicaid, you lose money treating Medicaid patients. You do it because you feel obligated to, but they're making it to where you're losing too much money, and that's why doctors quit taking it.
How do you have insurance, Red?
Yeah, I have insurance.
Okay. Is it through your employer or do you buy it yourself?
I'm not saying, but anyway, I've got it.
Well, a lot of employers dropped it because it was cheaper to pay the penalty and just get rid of their coverage. So all the people that Obama promised wouldn't lose their coverage, millions of them have lost their coverage. Millions of them will lose their doctor because the doctor looked at the payment schedule and said, I can't afford to do this. And so I'm just going to quit, and I'm only going to take paying patients. So this idea that we had a elite class.
There's not a single bit of evidence to support the
Well,
statement
Franklin,
that
all you got to
millions
do
of doctors are dropping
all
out
you
of the
got to
system.
do is look
Not
at
a bit.
actually, Franklin, there's all kinds of
I've got a
evidence.
letter over here where a doctor sent it to one of our employees the other day stating that
Sorry.
he was closing his practice down, that He did not. He didn't want to deal with this
Here's
Obamacare and the
Red,
computer.
here's what's bad about
and
what
all
Franklin.
all the codes that has to be entered into a computer system.
They're already doing
Here's
that.
what's
That's
bad-
not
Franklin-
nothing new.
No, no.
Red, here's what's
That's
bad
nothing new.
about
There's
what
too many codes.
what Franklin
But
and the
that's
Democrats are
nothing
doing
new.
to y'all.
That's
Here's
why
what's
they're
really
quitting now.
horrible.
The government isn't the one doing that. The insurance companies
that's
do.
why
The
they're quitting.
insurance company is doing it because the government forced this program down their throats.
The insurance companies voluntarily participated
Because
and supported it.
because they thought the government was going to make people buy their product, just like GE supported the curly Q bulbs because the government made us buy it. This is the whole problem with you people and crony capitalism. It's not free enterprise; it's government in
Show
bed
me
with
the
big
law that
business.
says you have to buy the curly Q bubble. John.
Franklin-
Is there such a law?
All right, Red. Here's the.
Is there a
Wait a minute,
law,
no,
John?
wait a minute.
Wait,
no,
wait,
no,
Or
let me
is
answer
that yet
Stop.
another massive
No,
fraud?
let me answer that.
You're
Let me
throwing
answer-
out for the public.
There is a law. They're going to do away with the other
That's
bulbs.
the
There's not
point.
gonna be
Franklin's
anything
playing a
left.
lawyer game with you. There is not a law that says you have
It's
to buy
not
the
a
curly
lawyer
Q.
game to expect you to be honest.
Franklin, all right, let me be perfectly honest. There is no law saying I have to buy a curly Q bulb. There is a law saying that the companies can't build the cheaper bulb I would rather buy anymore. So the only thing left is the curly Q
That's
bulb.
right. They're
But
doing away
Franklin's
with it.
technically right. And Red, the game that Franklin and the Democrats are playing, like when he says there's not a shred of evidence that doctors are going to drop out of this, here's his point to that.
Again, that's not what I
It'll
said.
be 5 years, 10 years
You can
down the
come
road
close to getting the
before
facts
we
right.
find that out, and then he'll go, well, too bad,
Your
we're
statement
too
was
far down that road.
millions of doctors are dropping out.
And you said there's no evidence to show
There's
that.
none.
But my point is,
I just
Franklin,
showed you a letter,
we
told
will
you about a letter
we
somebody
will
just
prove
made.
that in about 10 years. But then you all will go, well, I guess we were wrong. Sorry, we're too far down the road.
This is exactly
That's their point.
what the Republicans said about Medicare.
Hey, Red, did you get your question answered?
Well, I'm trying to.
Most of the plans, Red, I'll tell you, most of the plans, Red, are going to have higher premiums and higher deductibles. So you will be out of pocket more money.
Here's,
Well, I
what,
think-
here's what else. You can go to the doctor every year for free and get a physical. You can go to the doctor every year and get your mammogram.
Right. Just hope
offered to you.
hope you don't need anything. And by the way, on the mammograms, I wouldn't go there, Franklin, because they started talking about how women are probably getting too many mammograms and they need to maybe cut back on that.
I heard that.
Well, that's what happened in Great Britain. They started rationing care, which is what Republicans said this would lead to. They will ration care. They've got a guy up there in their medical office for the White House advisors who actually wrote a paper putting a dollar value per day on human life and saying, well, you know what? If you're 60 and you've got cancer and someone else is 40 and he's got cancer, the government would be more likely to spend the money on the 40-year-old because he'll pay taxes for longer. Which means if you're 60, they'll go, sorry, you
gotta
don't
in the
get
back-
treatment.
You got to go to the back of the line.
Right. That's what I
That's why Canadians with this very same system, when they really need something, come to America to get it done.
You know, when I was in the military one time, I almost got a little touch of this. I was in basic training, was running a temperature, sick. So they let me go to the infirmary that day. Well, I got to the infirmary, and there was probably 200 people in a line to go in this infirmary, reporting for sick. Anyway, they came out when you got close to the building, within 50 people to the building. They'd come out and put a thermometer in your mouth and take your temperature. And whoever had the highest temperature got moved to the front. And whoever had the least highest temperature stayed in the back. So my temperature was running about 101. And it was 3 days before I got in to see that doctor. it had to go up to about 103 before I got in there.
There are people in the British system, which is one of the things we modeled after, that are actually starving to death under their health care plan. And a huge number of them are actually dying from dehydration. So that's the kind of care you're going to get. You're going to get... They're going to allot care based on how profitable you are as a taxpayer.
All right, Red, I hope we answered your question.
I hope you did.
By the way, Red, just focus on this. You will be forced to pay for maternity care.
No, I won't.
Yes, you will. Because the government, that's what they said. And Franklin thinks that's great. He thinks you ought to have to pay for I've got to pay for pediatric dental care for my kids, even though I'm a dentist and can do my own dental work on my own kids. But I will still have to pay for it.
My kids are already grown and married. Do you think I'm going to pay for something like that?
Well, you will, because it's in every plan. The government mandated it.
Well, I'm glad and happy for them. Let's see them get it.
Bye, Red.
Bye.
All right. Here's an interesting thing, just to change things around a little bit and get off of Obama for a few minutes. I'm looking at why a high school was ordered to tear down its brand new baseball bleachers.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Have you seen that, Frank?
No, I don't know about that.
Basically, I guess the Boosters Club or somewhat for the baseball team went together and worked and built some new bleachers.
Where was this?
This was a school in Michigan. The U.S. Education Department's Office for Civil Rights has forced the school in Michigan to tear down a brand new set of bleachers for its boys' varsity baseball team because the new seating is nicer than the girls' softball bleachers.
This is more Title IX stuff.
Mm-hmm. The raised seating deck for the boys' baseball team, which was paid for with money raised by parents, was put in place because fans who'd come to watch the games at Plymouth High School in Canton, Michigan, were having a hard time seeing the game through the chain link fence. The parents installed the new bleachers themselves and even added a new scoreboard to the field, the station reported. After the investigation by government officials, which was prompted by anonymous complaint, the school was told it had to remove the new seating because it was no longer equal to the adjacent girls' softball bleachers, which have yet to get a makeover of their own.
Now, Franklin, that's government committee. We know better than you. So are you comfortable with that?
May I see the article for a moment? No, I think it's a ridiculous result.
Well, that's all fairness. That's Title IX.
All right, let's take a call real quick while Franklin reads that. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I heard you was asking Reddy if she retired on Medicare, and I'm on both of them, and I don't think I'll ever get maternity care, but I was going to ask John, what does that mean for me since I'm retired and I'm on Medicare?
Your biggest problem will be doctors will start retiring out of medicine entirely, and the ones that don't will quit taking Medicare. Mm-hmm. So this idea that, you can keep your doctor, well, that's assuming the doctor stays in the system. Yeah. More and more of these doctors are going to what they call concierge medicine, which means they only take cash-paying patients because they can't stand to do all of the paperwork and they can't tolerate the reimbursement rates of these programs. So here's how the Democrats play the game. They'll go, you have Medicare. Well, great. There's no doctors in Medicare. You may have Medicare, but there's no one that'll take it.
I had to take my mom, her hearing aid something was going wrong with it, so I took her to the hearing aid place, and they told me that her ears needed to be cleaned, and I needed to take them to a doctor she was compacted with wax or something. Mm-hmm. So I took her to a walk-in clinic, which I was told to take her to, and when I went in there and told them what I was wanting, they told me they did not take Medicare.
Wait.
And that they could send me down to another place that did take Medicare. So I had to go down to another place because they did take Medicare.
What you'll see is more and more doctors, more and more hospitals will just quit taking it. So you'll still have it. They'll claim they gave you coverage. But if you don't have a doctor to go see, it doesn't matter how much coverage you got.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it.
All right, man. Anyway, that high school, that's at Title IX. Is that what it is?
That's what's decimated sports in colleges.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll talk about unionizing sports here in a minute. Let's take this call. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Frank.
Hey.
This is Paul French. How you doing?
Who's this?
Paul French.
Hey, Paul.
Okay.
How are you, Paul?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. Hey, I got a question for Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
Can I come down there and you represent me for free? You do that.
Well, you know what, Paul? Many times the answer to that would be yes.
Would you like it if the government mandated that you do it for free?
I'm not aware of them doing that to anybody.
They do it to medical doctors. Frankly, I did Medicaid. Dad did Medicaid for years. We lost money on every patient that we saw. And when they put the TennCare system together, mm-hmm. Governor McWhorter, good Democrat that he was, had the gall to say the reason a lot of us dropped out of the Medicaid program and didn't participate in TennCare was because we were too greedy. We were already losing money on every single patient that we saw.
Well, with what I do, we are already subject to being appointed by courts to represent folks for free anyway. It happens
Okay.
all the time.
Well, I mean, Franklin, here's the problem. In this society, we really need legal care. And with the taxes like they are, we need accountants to do our, we need H&R Block to do our taxes. Let's just nationalize everything. Let's force everything under government control because people need all of those things. Once you start down this road, you need that, so we're going to nationalize it. We're going to write rules forcing you to do it. Then we're going to come in and do things like the bleacher to you. We're going to go, hey, we decided we don't like what you did, so we're going to make you undo it. Because that's what a planned society is like. It's the elitist leaders in Washington and in the capitals telling us common folks what we ought to be doing. And it's not what America was based on. It's not what made us the greatest nation in the world.
Hey, John.
Yes, sir.
My wife and daughter, they just recently got back from Paris, and, their guide over there, they went up there with school on their French trip, and they were asking them about, well, how long does it take to get seen? He says, well, not long. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, here in America, we're saying it's going to take a long time. Well, the more they talk to their tour guide, they say, yeah, you get seen. And she goes, well, how do y'all pay for that? And he goes, well, they just take half of our check. But they're so used to it. They're like the frog in the frying pan. Lord, I need all the money I can get, not that because I'm greedy, just to
because of your taxes.
Pay my health insurance, you know what I mean? And they have just got so conditioned. Well, if everybody came in, they wanted their chicken looked at, and I just said, hey, here's 50%, or here's 60%. How long is that going to last?
Well, that was the problem with the TennCare. When we were doing Medicaid, and this is back in the 90s, we got 42 cents on the dollar. So for every dollar we charged, Medicaid would pay us 42 cents. Now, most dental offices, their overhead runs anywhere from 60 to 75%. So we were literally losing money. And I don't mean I wasn't being paid. I mean I wasn't covering my expenses of keeping an office open. The problem with TennCare was, and this is the same problem with Obamacare, under Medicaid, I could limit my practice. I could say, you know what, I'm only going to allow my practice to be 10% Medicaid because I can afford to lose money on 10% of the work I do, and I consider that my duty to help people. But TennCare contract came along, and the TennCare contract, and it's like that today. I asked just last week at this continuing education, the Georgia program, I said, can I limit my practice? No. You have to take any in this case, TennCare, in their case, it was whatever Georgia Care is. If they show up at your door, you have to accept them. Well, what that means is they can literally force your paying patients that you make some money on out. So your practice can go from 10% losing to 80, 90, and 100% losing. You can't stay in business like that. So what happened was the doctors quit. They said, look, we were willing to do it when we could control how much it cost us. But once you make it to the point where it literally will bankrupt us, we quit. And that's what Obamacare will do. You will have government clinics with government employee doctors, which will be substandard care, and then you'll have expensive cash doctors for people who can afford it. That's what Great Britain has. That's what Canada has. That's what France has. If you got money, there'll be a doctor that'll take your money and give you quality care. If not, you'll go into the government clinic.
All right.
Hey, I really enjoy y'all's show, and y'all have a good day.
Thanks for calling in. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Just one last thing before we leave. It's that magic hour. I want to talk about this while it's in the news. This is about a 5-year-old that was told at school she could not pray.
Right.
There's an article about it in the paper this morning. The school system denies that it ever happened.
Of course they deny it.
No, now hold on a minute. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just giving you the other side of it. This is a 5-year-old who supposedly told their parents that they were told this by somebody. They said that they've looked at security videos of the cafeteria. They can't find anywhere where that could have happened, and nobody has been able to verify it. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
it shouldn't happen. It should have never happened. It would be wrong for somebody to do that.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because Harry Reid says he never said that woman was lying, even though we got a video of him saying it. So the leader of the Democrat-controlled Senate has done the same thing, and I'm glad you're against him.
Well, let's say this. Would you agree, Franklin, that no American should ever experience having their right to pray taken away?
Absolutely.
Okay. Would you say the same thing about having their guns taken away?
I don't think there's any effort to take guns
No,
away
there's
from
all
people.
kinds
No.
of effort.
Would you be in favor of them not having the right to take a gun away?
I think that there are areas where that's okay. I don't have a problem with felons not having guns.
Well, how about medical students, like the young woman from Tennessee that went to visit the World Trade Center site, and there's a sign up saying, check your gun. If you have a gun, you must check it. Mm-hmm. She checked it. They arrested her and tried to convict her on felony charges. Try that one on for size. East Tennessee medical student, young woman, does what the sign says. She has a legally authorized carry permit in the state of Tennessee. She goes to New York. They have a sign up that literally says,
do your carry permits go across state lines?
Well,
I don't know the answer.
Some states they do and some they don't.
No, Republicans on the national level have tried for years to pass a reciprocity law that would require states to accept. Now, the Democrats are all for reciprocity in gay marriage, but they're not for reciprocity in gun carry rights.
What about, real quick, Connecticut residents? Gun rights changed April 1st.
They were actually talked to about confiscation. They got letters telling them they were going to be confiscated.
Well, I mean, basically, they're right now they haven't turned in their
if you haven't turned in or registered, they said they would be doing house-to-house inspections and confiscate them.
It talked about how many people. I don't see it.
Frankly, are you okay with the federal agents doing house-to-house inspections and confiscating?
I don't even know what you're talking about here. So
that's the Connecticut gun law.
Federal agents are enforcing the Connecticut gun law?
Well, actually, what they did was the federal agencies said they were going to require the local sheriffs to do it. And a lot of the local sheriffs said they weren't going to do it. But some of them said, yes, they would do it. The point is not that. The point is you've got a federal agency talking about house to house. It sounds a lot like the Nazis.
Anyway, it seems to be more and more that they're trying to restrict the guns.
Unless, of course, you're selling them to the Mexican drug cartels like in Fast and Furious.
Oh, I tell you, it's fun to be here. I guess we're going to have to call it a day, guys. We're running a little late right now. Anything in closing you'd like to say?
Have a great week.
I'd like everybody to look up Kobe Bryant's comments. He got into a little trouble over making some statements about Trayvon Martin to the New Yorker magazine. If you read his statement, it is an incredibly fair, decent statement, and he is just getting hammered for not towing the ideology of the black leadership in America.
All right, folks, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Backfire with Steve Hickson, John Stanberry, and Franklin Chansey. Catch them again on Whoop FM at noon today and every Wednesday morning from 7:30 to 8:30. Now, back to more music.